Good morning, good evening, hey everybody, welcome to the Rocket Radio Show, starring your host, Rocket.
Hey everybody, this is Rocket. Man, it's about 4 a.m. I'm out here on my porch. It's pretty cold. Yeah, you can see your breath. It's been raining steadily for a couple of days, so the air is super clean and crisp. And man, it's quiet out here. One of the things I like about where I live is there's no background city noise, you know. That noise, you know. The combined sounds of the gears of, you know, urban life. So, one of the things I want to talk about today is the fact that who's to blame? You know, this shooting incident. I talk about feminism a lot on my show, and I think it probably goes in one ear and out the other for most people. I've noticed a whole subculture on YouTube devoted to mangina and feminism and misandry, and I've actually found a few channels that were pretty darn good. And for any of you that still have a mystery of what it's all about, the reason why feminism is so popular and so important to the New World Order is you need everybody to toe in line, and you need to remove all the masculinity besides the state. And one of the things that's in their sights is guns. Guns are considered masculine, of course. And, of course, you know, feminists think that guns are just a device of superiority. And in regards to this shooting in Connecticut, you know, I have a friend. He has a daughter that's 14. I think I've mentioned her on the show before. Basically, she's just crazy as could be. She's got autism. She can't talk very much. She can sing, but she can't pay attention or really respond to you too much. She basically watches YouTube all day, but she is known to go out in the backyard and take her clothes off. They have a 10-foot-high fence, and one time I went over to see him, and she was up at the top of the fence coming over, like trying to figure out how to jump down, and she was totally naked, 14-year-old girl. I was like, whoa, and I ran into his front door and knocked on his door, and he's got deadbolts that don't have a latch on them. You know, you need a key. So even when he opens the door, you hear jingle, 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 and there's like 1001, 1002, and then boom, the door opens. It's not instant at his house. He's got to get that deadbolt open. And I'm like, bro, your daughter's out on the fence. And man, he boogied over there. I stayed inside. I didn't want to see her naked, you know. But she's got mental illness. And, you know, in the Connecticut shooting, ooh, it was a weird little animal noise way off in the dark. In the Connecticut shooting, you got all these dead kids, dead teachers, you know, murderous rampage by this crazy guy. And this Nancy Lanza, I think I blame her. You know, she's going to be put as, you know, sort of an asterisk as a victim, and, you know, she was crazed, prepper type, you know, but what people aren't really talking about is, you know what, I want to bet you, most mothers know their sons, especially when they're, like, all into them. They know their sons inside and out. Especially when mother's taking care of a handicapped son, they sort of invade the dude's space all the time. So she probably knew, she probably had a pretty good finger on the pulse of what was going on with that kid. And when you hear about how she was traveling the country looking for some place to put him, you know what I think? I think that kid was making threats all the time. I think she knew she was dropping out of her you know, social life because that kid was a threat. He was dangerous, and she knew that. And, most policemen will tell you they've never seen a person that has a lawful weapon commit a crime. Ask one of them. And, why she had these guns. Now, I'm totally not against guns. That you guys all know that. But if she knew she had a crazy kid, why would she have guns in her house that he could get to? Now, like my friend I was talking about earlier, they have a special valve inside a locked cabinet to turn the gas off so this daughter can't get up in the middle of the night and gas themselves. In fact, they moved from another house because it had a 2-story landing, and she would climb on that, so they had to move. They don't have any sharp knives or objects she can hurt herself with in any of the drawers that are accessible. They lock all of the doors. She can't turn on the stove because they never know what she's going to do. And they know this. Now, the other thing my friend knows is once she turns 18, they're going to have to put her somewhere, and that's going to be really hard. So that Nancy Lanza knew all that. She knew her son was a threat. She probably knew that he was going off the deep end. She was trying to find a place to put him, but she was irresponsible with her guns. She let a whacked person get a hold of her guns. So, let's just say it like it is, right? Adam Lanza. It sounds to me, if he's not an MK Ultra, the guy was whacked. Let's, look at somebody that's just a dribbling, mental case, or someone that's severely mentally retarded. Look at him. You going to blame him for being like that? No. Now, I don't want to take the blame away from a mass murderer, but really think about it. The guy was tarded. Whose fault was it? Well, maybe Nancy Lanza. I'd like to know, why was she getting $250,000 from her ex-husband when this kid was 20? How long was she milking that for? Because when she finally dumped that kid, she'd probably lose that money. She certainly should lose that money. I mean, do you got to pay a chick for the rest of your frickin' life? I just don't get it. So she's there. She's bringing in a couple of G's every month, every year. Got a big, beautiful house, a bunch of nice weapons. She's probably had a lot of plastic done. I don't know. Sounds like she's living the good life. And maybe, just maybe, old Shooter Boy was her meal ticket. So maybe she was clinging to that, So that goes back to feminism. It's just like I said, it's feminism. She was being fulfilled. She was being self-actuated. She was making herself powerful by her weapons. She's going to run in and hyper-raise her son herself against the world, Where is her husband? Women don't realize, when you're in your 20s and you're helping set popular culture, cultural psychologies in your 20s, once you start getting in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, you start running out of choices, ladies. Feminism is going to destroy this country. It's going to cause everyone to be basically a mangina and a female. That's the two choices. Town, 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 town.
This is Dr. Judy Wood, author of Where Did the Towers Go? And you're listening to The Rocket Radio Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Rocket Radio Show. Hey, this is going to be a quick show. Man, that really wore me out downloading and making that hour-long video the last few days. It's been a lot of editing. Good Lord. So this is going to be a lot quicker. I just want to address one of my viewers, JG Visions. So he says, this is about the Islam video. It says, his question in regards to Islam is that, did I care that Islam comes in different phases and types around the world? And that secondly, their whole thing isn't about destroying the American way of life. LOL. That's what the store-bought media-fed idea behind the supposed 9/11 attacks. The idea people need to understand is that Islam was hijacked as a political movement in order to get support to combat Western imperialism. Although that wasn't necessary because of the West actions in the Middle East for the past 60-some-odd years, which has made the Middle East quite pissed off. But it's still, that's at the issue at hand, just something to think about. You do realize your liberties and the wealth of this country is built on the blood and backs of other indigenous cultures and people. Just something to think about. And yes, you're right. It's most likely in the Quran about them ruling the world, which is logically impossible. But the point is that before Islam was put on the map, or radical Islam, as a political movement, it was nothing more than some shit done on the other side of the world. It's nothing more than a political movement Baczynski cooked up in order to create a new ghost enemy for us to fuck with, like the whole shit with communism right after World War II. It's simple. Wash, rinse, repeat all over again. And now he sent me another message. This is how live and fresh this is.
On the infiltration of the Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood. And this video, it's kind of a rebuttal to a rebuttal.
I can't even address all the problems with this. First of all, I do acknowledge that there are different kinds of Islam. I kind of cover that. I know about the Sufis and the Shiites and the Sunnis, but once again, that's all your guys' crap. I don't really care. A Muslim's a Muslim to me. And eventually you guys will probably all unite anyway. That would be the sensible thing for you guys to do. And that's your big plan for the caliphate. So as far as there being different kinds of you guys, that's like the difference between a Mormon and a Jehovah's Witness to me. I don't believe in either of them. I don't care if they're different. I don't hold it against any one of them, either one of them less, for believing in a phantasmagorical religion. Okay? And as far as the Arabs and the Arabic world, the Muslim world, wanting to destroy our way of life over here, well, we both agree that democracy and Islam are incompatible. They're incompatible. And that you guys have a directive in your Quran to take over the world. So that's not a store-bought, media-fed idea behind the supposed 9/11 attacks. Okay? I don't know what the store-bought media idea was behind the attacks in Beirut when they blew up a Marine barracks. That was a long time before that. Oh, because you needed to get support to combat Western imperialism? Are you including the Soviet Union in that? Are you considering them Western imperialism? Obviously, you're not American, or maybe you're one of those 18 to 29-year-olds, okay? And as far as stirring up a hornet's nest in the last 60 years, I don't think we did in Iran was very good. A little stuff in Lebanon. I got to admit, there's some stuff in there. But overall, I think we've been providing military structure and support for the Saudis pretty well. They gotten plenty of money out of us. That oil wasn't free. But, of course, your whole area is going to go down in history with the exception of Abu Dhabi. The United Arab Emirates. With the exception of them, you guys are going to go down in history as the greatest retards in history, just losing your natural resources for nothing. You didn't develop Saudi Arabia at all. It's horrible squandering of natural resources. And as far as that 60 years go, if we hadn't been involved, the Islam Islam world was bellying up with the Nazis. Of course, so was Grandpa Bush, but nonetheless, the Nazis hated the Jews. The Arabs hate the Jews too, so that's a natural alliance. And in fact, the Ba'athist Party, the one that, the guy that got hanged, the one in charge of Iraq, that guy was a Ba'athist. Well, that, if you do Google it and go back and look, they were a part of the Nazi Party in support of that regime. It was a throwback. It didn't get kicked out. After World War II, they got to stay in power. There was a coup d'etat and all that stuff. So, if it wasn't for America meddling out there, you guys would either be speaking British or you'd be speaking German. Maybe Japanese. Maybe Chinese. I don't know. You don't think that us being there is keeping them Chinese bastards back from you guys? Why have we poured trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars into your guys' countries over there? But we're the evil imperialists. That's all white guilt. I'm sick of that. That's exactly what Obama is. Obama is an anti-neocolonialist. That's like Africana, 1950s. We're beyond that, okay? I don't have American guilt. I'm sorry that we have a great country. I can see where that could cause someone who doesn't get the American idea. I'm sure you don't get it. So you could have envy. I can see why you're probably envious. But that's okay. So you're denying that it doesn't say in the Quran to take over the world. You're denying that it doesn't say in the Quran you're supposed to chop unbelievers' heads off. You even have a name for them, right? Okay, that's cool. No problem. But in the 60-some-odd years, we've made the Middle East pretty pissed off. Well, I remember people that were pretty happy when we first got to Baghdad. I guess that didn't help. I guess people were pissed off at how much money we poured into Mubarak. I'm sure that Egypt was a whole lot better off before the Muslim Brotherhood took over. Obviously, Libya was a whole lot better off before the Muslims took over. That place is going to be a Mogadishu. No problem. Destroyed, one of the nicest countries to open the gateway to Africa. That's cool. No problem. And as far as the wealth of my country being built on the blood and the backs of other indigenous cultures and peoples, well, we didn't have indigenous cultures when we moved here. It was a big forest. It had a few Indians here and there, but pretty much everyone had to be brought from somewhere else. So to try to lay some guilt on me about the blood and sweat of indigenous cultures, I'm pretty sure South America made quite a bit of money on some coffee. I'm sure they're out there picking it and suffering in the sun, but if someone didn't buy it, they'd be out of a job. So stop trying to make America the evil giant. It's not going to work with me, buddy. You know, for every drop of indigenous blood and sweat, my mother picked cotton, brother. Don't try to tell me, okay? They lived on peaches because they picked peaches. They took turnips and buried them in the dirt because they lasted for months. Don't try to tell me about blood and sweat. What happens is people came to the United States with an idea of freedom and liberty and enterprise and capitalism and came in broke and dejected and demoralized like you are, and came here to the United States and worked hard, and there was opportunity, and they could make something of themselves instead of sitting on their other side of the pond telling the Americans about how they took advantage of everyone's blood. It seems to me I've seen some of Americans' blood spilled some places too. You know, that's one of the things that pisses me off. You guys that listen to my show, you should know, one of the reasons why I'm pissed off is because the sand is bled red. You guys, it's not a fucking joke. It wasn't about a protest. It wasn't about a flat tire. It wasn't an inconvenience. It was people getting their legs blown off. It was people getting shot and killed. People's sons, people's husbands, their fathers, their mothers. We even got goddamn women in the army. Okay? So that's one of the things. People died so that we could take advantage of these other indigenous people's blood. Yeah, when we were in Guadalcanal, oh, Rocket, that was a long time ago. We don't give a shit about that. Just imagine what those Japanese motherfuckers at World War II would have done to you guys. Man, they would have looked at you like subhuman. Do you know how much money the United States has spent on fucking Islam relations? Do you know how much money the United States has spent on aid packages to other countries? Do you know how much of a bottomless pit Africa has been for the United States?
You got religious organizations pouring time and resources all around the world. We have 600 bases around the world providing some sort of stability for you guys on your blood and sweat. So I see they were over there. You guys were on the other side of the pond, and you built America. We don't even deserve America. I guarantee you that's what frickin' Obama. You see why you want someone that's born in the United States?
Some personal shit going on right now that's sort of kind of disturbing.
Oh, man. I was going to call and tell you I had a grandbaby this morning, a boy.
That's okay. I've got time to chat about that. That's not a problem.
No, you got shit to deal with. Oh, dude, that sounds like drama, man. What's up, brother? What the fuck?
I started seeing a girl a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And it turns out that she's a stone-cold alcoholic.
Yeah.
And she was in the process of getting a divorce from her abusive husband.
All right.
And she came over last Wednesday or so and was staying with me because he beat the shit out of her and broke a couple of ribs. And I got home she was emailing me on Friday saying, hey, can't wait for you to get home. I'm bored. I want to see you. I got home on Friday and she was gone. Said she'd gone out with one of her girlfriends, be back in a little bit. Okay, it's Tuesday afternoon. I haven't heard hide nor hair from her, and her mom hasn't heard hide nor hair from her. So she's just sort of kind of fallen off the face of the earth, and when she drinks, she's real prone to bad decisions. I'm afraid that the girl's dead somewhere. And we're trying to find out. I just talked to her mom again, and her mom was going to get her daughter-in-law to call the ex to see if she's with him. So,
do you have male friends, dude?
Yeah.
Bro.
Oh, I know.
Listen, man, you're my bud. I got nothing but pure love for you. You know that. Dude, break that shit off. Turn off your goddamn phone. Go somewhere. Get the fuck out of the house. Go to the movies. That would be nice and absorbing so you don't think at all. Cut that shit off right now. That's totally unhealthy. That just reeks of sheltering. What are you doing?
I know, and I decided over the weekend, that's it. I'm going to break up with the relationship's over. The problem is I've got her fucking cat.
Oh. Well, once again, that's a minimal issue. You know where her mom lives? Go dump the cat off, man.
Her mom lives in New Jersey.
Well, the big boy thing to do, the sober, non-involved, enabling activity to do is take that cat to a shelter somewhere and find out how much it costs for like a week and be a good guy and pay for it for a week and go, here you go. And then that's it. Unless your toothbrush is there, put it in a bag and put it on the front porch. Don't answer the door. In fact, leave town. Cut that shit off. What the fuck are you doing? That sounds like teenage drama.
It is.
What the fuck?
Well, part of it was me wanting to try to give her someplace safe to get away from her hard life and I know.
What you're doing, that's horrible. That sounds horrible. It sounds sheltering. Like, I'm not criticizing you. I'm not.
No,
I'm sit-repping you.
Right. You're absolutely right, and that's what it was. Part of it was I came from an abusive alcoholic family.
Me too.
And so I've seen it and I've done it, and my mom died last year before last, from drug abuse and all this other bullshit. So part of it is, I guess, a little bit of guilt. Part of it's me trying to make up for not being a good person through different phases of my life.
Oh, God. Bro, that's horse shit.
Well, I know.
Come on, buddy. Come on. I don't know what place you're coming from on that, but you just gave it away real good, man. My mom died from cancer, right? So I remember my mom dying. I'm an adult. It really hurt and stuff. Well, if your mom died from a drug deal or something like that, drug overdose or whatever, you know, some kind of addiction-related gig, you need to get help, bro.
Well, for me,
and you're latching yourself on to, you're going to wind up in jail. I'm trying to think of the worst thing. You are going to wind up out of your own house in jail, absolutely fucked. You're going to lose your job. What the fuck are you doing, brother?
That's a good question, and I had that same realization over the weekend. You know, the only thing I'm trying to do is trying to button up and move on.
Well, you got to cut wood. You got to completely cut wood. I don't know if it's possible. I don't think you can do it. You don't sound like you. I wish I was your older brother and I was in town. You got to cut wood completely. That's it. And the cat thing, bro, I got a farm. I'll shoot him in the head if I have to, because that's just animals. I need the cat. All right, cool.
Right.
Go find a fucking very nice place for the cat to stay. Not a family, but a gig, like real local. It's a little shelter. If they don't get the money in 30 days or whatever, then the fucking cat goes to the pound. Okay, where's my cat? Here's the card. He's all put up. You just go pick him up. I paid for it for a week. Here you go. We're done. Done. No talking, no crying, no sex. You are not allowed to have sex with that woman anymore.
Oh, that's done. You're absolutely done. The only other thing I was thinking about is getting a cat carrier, putting a little guy in there, going over there late at night and putting him on the doorstep of where she used to live and leave.
No, look, I'm not involved. I'm telling you right now, the honorable thing to do is put it in a nice cat place immediately. Just go do it. Go get it done. Call, get off the phone with me, look it up on the net, find a cat shelter. It's late there. You have to do it tomorrow. Find a cat shelter where they babysit cats. It's probably like $150 for 2 weeks. And go pay the $150 and put the cat in the shelter and get their business card. And then if you want, this is what you should do. Go over to mom's house and say, hey, here's where that cat is. Listen, I don't want her to call me. I don't want you to call me. I wish you guys the best of luck. Take care and walk the fuck out. Get in your car. Go home. Lock your door. Go out to the movies. Go see a movie almost every day so that you spend 2 hours not enumerating on this shit. Renumerating.
But see, that's not the worst thing that's bothering me.
What's bothering you?
On top of I'm an animal owner and an animal lover, okay? And I've got a couple of cats that I rescued when we were in New York about 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago. And the one I'm really close to is my girl. She's been with me through thick and thin, and I found out yesterday with a CAT scan she has a growth in one of her nasal passages. So I'm wrestling with this a lot more than I'm wrestling with this female situation, believe you me.
Just take the goddamn cat down to the vet and have it put to sleep. Just go in there. My cat has a tumor. He needs to be put to sleep. How much is it? $75. Here's the money. Thank you very much. Don't stay and hold its hand. None of that shit. This cat issue is part of the problem.
Well, I just can't do that.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I'm a caretaker. I'm a caregiver.
But see, that's the thing, brother. You're not. Look, I've been a nurse before. I'm telling you, you've broken your Hippocratic oath because you've gotten yourself involved. You're not being a good caretaker. A good caretaker, when their horse's leg is fucked up, they take him out and shoot him. It's hard. It's sad. Nobody wants to do it. They put it off to the last second that day, but you go out and do it because it's the right thing to do. Cat, tumor, you want to let him suffer? That's not being a good caregiver. You're emotionally involved. It's a cat. You should put him out of his suffering because you need more room, and you can't get anything new in your life till you let go of something old, bro.
Well, and that's good advice, and that's sort of kind of what I'm wrestling with and struggling with at this point. And it takes time.
Well, and I'm just telling you, I'm not going to cut you any slack. If I'm wrong, you let me know. And if I tell you something that I'm fucking up on, you let me know. But I am not cutting you any slack. You're a grown man. You're very intelligent. But you are fucking up in some areas, man. You need to get your shit together. What are you doing being attracted to an alcoholic for, brother? What the fuck's that about?
When we first met, when we first became attracted to one another, she was at work. It wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
I never saw her. If I just bumped into her somewhere and she was shit-faced like that, it wouldn't happen.
Well, yeah. People turn into somebody else when they're blasted.
Right. And that's the thing, because she worked at the clinic where I took my animals to, and she was always sober, always straight up, feet on the ground, well-grounded girl. And first time away from work that we were together, just completely wasted. And I figured, okay, it's a one-time thing. I didn't see the depths of it, and then I started learning and started distancing myself from her emotionally, and she became more clingy, of course, and I started pushing myself further away, and she was going to move back to New Jersey. That was the thing. She was moving back to New Jersey next week, beginning of the next week. So it was going to rectify itself, and
you're still way hyper involved. You're way over involved.
Oh, I am. I'm not as involved as I was 2 weeks ago nor last week.
Well, you can tell by what you just told me. You're going to have to cut wood. It can't be. You got to use the scalpel. It's got to be done. You tie up all the loose ends. Done.
And that's what I'm working through this week. Trust me, I am. I understand, and what you're saying is absolutely correct, and believe you me. And this is not something that I hadn't been running through my own mind. I wasn't thinking about it as strongly as you said. And thanks for stating it the way that you did. But it's all stuff that I've been processing.
Well, to take it to the next level, to worry about you and not other people's drama, which you're 100% hyper involved. That's obvious. But to take it to the next level, to care about you and you personally, and give you something maybe to ruminate about, bro, you subconsciously knew that chick was a train wreck and that you're attracted to that. That means probably that you're probably not ready for a relationship. I know you don't want to hear that, but
no,
that's a way of avoiding having a real relationship. If you can put up with this leaky backpack, and constantly be working on it to juggle the plate.
But you're right.
That's not meeting in the middle. That's not a chick with her shit together.
Right, and you're absolutely right, because I had been dateless and relationshipless for 7 or 8 years because when I moved to Texas, I went through therapy about my past relationships. And while all the girls looked different and they had different characteristics, they had one main thing in common, and that they needed saving when I met them.
Yeah, you're rescuing. Well, just so you know, by the rules, technically, if she says, I love you, and you really care about her, then by the rules, she's supposed to get sober and wait 1 year before she's in a relationship. That's what AA tells you to do.
Well,
get sober and then be sober for a whole year.
Right.
Otherwise, the stress of being in a relationship is going to make you slip and get drunk. And next thing you know, bro, you're going to be drinking with her.
No, I won't do it. I've already refused her, and after what I grew up in, that ain't gonna happen.
But you just don't deserve the car wrecks, and the unemployment, and the rants, and and all of the you're gonna wind up in jail. You're too nice a guy. I wish you played hockey with me, because as soon as we told the team what you're doing, we'd beat your ass. It's just dumb. That's dumb. What are you doing, brother?
That would be, and you're right. And I came to grips with it last week. And when she did this disappearing thing, not only did she disappear, but she doesn't have a key to my apartment, so she left the apartment unlocked.
Wow.
And there was only about a 30-minute window there between the time she left and the time she came and I got home. But she was so hell-bent on having a drink, she couldn't wait for 30 minutes for me to get home so I could lock up the apartment.
Well, she couldn't wait, bro. She's got a time clock ticking every day, man.
Absolutely. And the night before, I refused to buy her any alcohol.
You still talk about her, though, like she's your old lady.
It's because I worry about her as a friend.
No, that's not true.
Well,
that's not true. Sorry, buddy.
Well,
is she hot?
She ain't bad.
And the sex is good. It's something. It's like, worth pursuing, obviously. Because if there was no sex involved, you probably wouldn't be putting up with it. If she's a fat toad, I don't think you would put up with as much as you put up with already. You're attracted to her. You're already mindset that you're with her, bro. And see, this is the thing, man. She is not what you're attracted to. It's you're being attracted to your baggage, bro, and she's not going to work that out for you.
No, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And as soon as it took it a little while for that to sit in, and as soon as it set in over the weekend, that's when I said, okay, I'm done, I'm out.
And lastly, the thing about your cat, come on, bro, you're a way super smart person. Do not anthropomorphize your cat. That's not a good sign either, bro. Quit doing that. That's not a human being. Stop putting. I know you love him, blah blah blah, but come on, bro. It's a cat. Serious.
Well,
if you were hungry, you'd eat that motherfucker. It's not a person.
I'd probably eat another one before I ate this.
I know, but I'm saying though, for your mental state, it's another sign of cleanliness. It's not good, bro. A man will say, oh, I love my cat, but he's got a goddamn tumor. Fuck. All right, let me see him. He's still happy. Now's the time. Don't make him dwindle down to a piece of shit and give him shots and all that. Go get a healthy cat right now that's going to be put to sleep today if you care. See what I mean? Don't turn it around where you feel bad because you do the right thing with your cat. And I'm more brutal because I'm a farmer probably.
Right.
But you got to do the right thing. That's it. You just get it done. It's hard.
And that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. Well, good. I hope I cheered you up.
Hey, everybody. This is Rocket from the Rocket Radio Show, and today we're going to do a departure. Now, I am not a musician, okay? I've been playing guitar for 33 years, and I still suck. And I want to apologize for the music sound quality. This is just a little gimme from the personal side of your host, Rocket. And here we go. Let's hope this turns out where you can hear it. Ready? Here we go. That's me playing. Here comes my big lead. Country's gone to hell. Everyone's in jail. The communist is running around. They stole the treasury. The money's all gone. The tax man's coming. failed kidnapping attempt and a CIA torture prison. Here we go. Gonna raise the taxes. Turn in your guns. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Please don't forget your waitresses. You know, I had a bright idea this morning. Let me just put down my axe. All right. Whoops. Turn that off. I had a bright idea this morning. Why don't we just get rid of the Constitution? After all, it's just written by a bunch of privileged white slave owner assholes that were committing crimes, right? Revolutionary insurgents, you know, Christian Taliban compared to the Indians, right? What do we care anymore about this document with dust all over it? Look, can't two grown men, or a nation for that matter, come together and talk about their problems and come to a modern solution without some crazy constitutionalist bursting into the room trying to remind us what this small group of privileged white dudes thought back then? We got goddamn death rays, okay? Second Amendment. What are you talking about? That was for muskets. It was for the British. Those muskets were for the British. Those were for Pierce Morgan, who would have been dragged out in the streets, tarred and feathered, and then shot. Go home, Pierce Morgan, you frickin' leftist Marxist asshole. Oh, I went to a gun range and I knew they were killing machines, and I started to cry. I've never seen a gun before. What the hell do I know? They're fearful. Yeah, so we should just take that living document and change it all around to make it fit what all these 18 to 29-year-olds think it's supposed to mean. You know, Thomas Jefferson said that they should expire every generation. So now it's time to write the new one, right? We want to make everybody happy. You all get health care. Cool. You all get food. Free phone. Right? That's cool. You know, as long as you have your booze, as long as you have your circus and your games, it's cool. Why do we need a constitution? We keep going around it all the time. You know, it really gets me is these guys are constitutional experts, right? So they're like one of those smarmy lawyers that know how to get around doing the right thing. So, yeah, that's why I have the blues. I have the blues because my Constitution's been trampled on. It's not a living document. It works just fine. If they hadn't started the goddamn Federal Reserve, I wouldn't have the blues. Technical difficulty. Here we go. I'm so sad. I'm just sad. Lost of my country. Lions and thieves. Jackals, coyotes and wolves and dogs. They stole our country, damn it. supporting old blues stars like Rocket, Hell. Everybody keep drinking, because it's going to start sounding better. I don't have all the answers, and I see lots and lots of problems. But what's a guy supposed to do? I'm just one man, one talk show host, the last DJ. I know if I can monologue and play lead at the same time. But it's the Federal Reserve, you guys. We're owned by a bunch of international banks. Foreigners. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to be here all week. Please don't forget your waitresses. Tonight's drink special, ladies and gentlemen, the Zombie. Not exactly sure what's in it, but you're going to love it. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Thank you very much. Thank you. To the Rocket Radio Show. Come on, everybody. Sing along. For me, for me. Today's show is brought to you by Shelterbox. We got an exciting show for you guys today. Samantha Stanley's in the studio. First things first, let's get to the Pick It Apart video, where we show someone's YouTube video and psychologically pick them apart down to the molecule. We'll peer in their soul. So everybody, let's get ready to take the red pill of truth down the rabbit hole.
Before puberty, I'm guessing, I don't know, somewhere between like 8, 9, and 10 years old. And I had older cousins who would sort of role play sexual things with me that involved taking off the pants and things to that effect. And I myself became the abuser, if you will, and did that to one of my female cousins. And so this is a stain on my history. It's a stain on my background. But in all of those situations, we were kind of consenting, so I don't know if that really counts as abuse so much as just kids sort of playing around and experimenting with their bodies. But, you know, you don't do that with your family members, certainly. And, you know, but we were so young, I don't even think you could have erections back then, and I don't think that you would have full insertion. It was just more so of the imitation of that. However, it did get discovered that this had happened with myself and my female cousin by the adults in our family, my parents, her parents. And the reason I think it got discovered is, if I understood correctly, she developed some sort of STD. And my guess is she was probably sexually abused by some grown adult or a teenager or something to that effect to get that STD, because I didn't have any STDs. I, got seen by the same doctors and stuff. And but anyway, they required us to go to some sort of counseling, and we literally had puppets that were anatomically correct, and we reenacted them. I don't think she and I were in the same setting, but separately. So we had to go to counseling and talk about this, and of course it was uncomfortable. I was a kid. You knew enough to know that that's not what normal people did. You hid it, but you did it anyway. And my cousins also did this to some neighbors. And I remember that one of the older brothers or cousins, I think cousin of this neighbor, confronted my cousins on this, and also me. And I'm like, again, 9 years old, 10 years old, and he's like, why didn't you stop them? And I don't believe that I participated in that. But I was an accomplice in that. I knew it was happening and I didn't speak out. But as a kid, you don't know how to speak out. You don't know how to defend yourself as a kid. This is why I get pissed off at people who aren't empathetic when kids do horrible things, because kids don't have the full capacity and function to know exactly fully right and wrong. I mean, you kind of know right and wrong. You kind of know that you should do this, or you're not allowed to, but you don't fully have the sense of right and wrong that you have as an adult. And but anyway, I'm sorry that happened, and I bring this up as a defining moment in my past because I'm gay. So therefore, a lot of people who are anti-gay will say, well, then you're gay because you were sexually abused. And I don't believe that's the case. I don't think that's the case because my ex-boyfriend was never sexually abused. I asked him. We had a very open, honest, candid relationship. If he was telling the truth, he was never sexually abused. And we were totally honest about everything. So I don't know why he would lie about that. I don't think he lied about that. I think that was the truth. And there's people in my life that I know who are females who have been sexually abused, and they are heterosexual. I can imagine somebody like Dr. Drew would say, well, they're promiscuous. Well, no, she was not promiscuous. So sometimes if you're sexually abused, you are heterosexual, and sometimes you end up gay. But I don't think that sexual abuse has anything to do with the outcomes of one's sexual attractions as adult. I don't. I may be wrong, but I'm just telling you what I personally think from my own personal experience and other people that I've talked to. And when it comes to sexual abuse, so I think nearly everybody has been sexualized or homosexuality are wrong. The religions can't even agree on what days to worship or whether Jesus is the Messiah or other people are. And DNA guy, and I don't know why to that effect. So people are gay, but my hypothesis, my own analysis, my own conclusion wrong. And of course, there are the progressive, the prevailing research talks about it. And not a sin reports, and part of the Bible is interpreted incorrectly. I just want to take a minute and just conclude that by saying, and again, I hesitate to say the word sexual abuse because it hadn't happened to where any of us were like, no, don't do this to me, this hurts, or anything to that effect. But it was something that happened in the past, and could it be a contributing factor why I'm gay? Well, I'm not a scientist. I knew that happened and didn't say anything about. I'm sorry. And for the female family member that I did that stuff to, I am very sorry from the bottom of my heart. From personal testimonies in my own walk of life, I believe that I'm gay because I was simply born that way. I think it's part of the variety of life. And I did that a long time ago, and I think we're at peace with that part of the past. Kids making stupid decisions, not fully understanding what they do, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm sorry that happened to all of us. And my personal take on how I'm going to live my life is I'm not going to feel victimized or shamed or, frankly, I'm just not going to let negative feelings about that past have any control over me. I recognize that it happened, it's bad, but I can't undo the past, so I'm going to live my life being happy and healthy in the present day going forward.
Good evening and good morning, Rocket Radio listeners. How are you doing? It's Rocket, and with us today in the studio is Samantha Stanley. How are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome. So you had a chance to check this video out, right?
I did.
What do you think of this guy?
Well, I like him.
You sure you like him? Because I said I liked him. I don't think you did initially.
No, I am my own person, Rocket. I do like him.
Okay, because I think he's a real sweetheart. I think he's a nice guy, and he's kind of got a weird story. He's living in his car, and he's putting in a pretty diligent effort to make network connections to try to, get a job, and I don't know. And he does a lot of homosexual content, a lot of LGBT, what is it?
LBGT.
LBGT, I said it right. A lot of LGBT issues. LGBT.
Let's
do you watch TV? Okay, so, but anyway, transgender and all these things, and I like to go on there and argue with them sometimes, but then, and I don't see a lot of them, but I caught this one here, and I was stunned, okay? I don't think I've ever seen a more clear case of, one, ego projection, and number two, child abuse, leading, I believe, to homosexual tendencies, or at least confusion. And then number three, once again, and this is a mouthful, I couldn't say it a second ago, pre-recording, let's see. Once again, this is an untoward effect from the systemic feminization of our culture, and it causes sexual gender confusion. Now, when we talked on the show the other day, I said that I believe probably in the 1950s and the 1940s that there were less gay people, and you argued with me. You said...
I said that I didn't believe that there were fewer gay people. It was just not PC to come out of the closet at that time.
Yeah, I think there were the Liberace's and the Rock Hudsons and these guys that maintained false marriages and a bunch of other horrible things that they had to do. But I gotta tell you, homosexuality has a green light. It just really does. And it's almost encouraged. And what it almost infers is that normal heterosexual sex is bizarre. It's becoming, normal heterosexual sex and committed, loving relationships where people are married for long terms, where they raise children together, it's an anomaly now. It's just loose. And I think that a lot of guys that may have considered doing homosexual practices may have not, because of the social stigma, and they kept themselves together. Because, I don't believe that people are gay. Like, if it was a scale of 1 to 10, and 1's straight and 10's gay, I don't think that most people are either a 10 or a 1. I think they're probably like a 3 or a 7.
Like, kind of gay?
Yeah, well, I think that people have a bell curve. I'm not even sure it's gay or not gay. I think it's more like top and bottom. And, men that are in prison have homosexual relations and they're not gay, and they get out of prison, they don't do that anymore. I mean, you got to get it where you can. And I just think that in the 1940s, or I'm not sure when, I'm not like obsessed with the 40s and the 50s, but back when families were nuclear and more patriarchal, where fathers took care of their children and were monogamous for the most part. And I think that this whole that all men cheat is propaganda. And unfortunately, I think that the guys on the edge tear the good guys down that don't cheat and that are in committed relationships. And I think these guys are portrayed as dogs and Casanovas in the movies, I think, to degrade the male position in the family. And I think that it shows with the violence and the... Trayvon Martin, for example. Look, the kid didn't do anything wrong. He shouldn't have got shot. It's all a clusterfuck. But he's a kid getting Skittles and, like, soda or whatever with caffeine in it at 11 o'clock at night or whatever. It's nighttime. A few years ago, he would have been in freaking bed. His dad would have been in the living room watching TV and known every move that kid was making. No, but where he was at his dad's girlfriend's house. Trayvon didn't live there, and you know what? Neither did his dad. It was a gated community with some vigilante dude cruising around that would just cream his pants to shoot a frog if it went and crossed in front of his path. He was itching to go. Now, I think he's going to get off, and a lot of the more ignorant blacks are going to throw a psych-opt hissy fit over that. They're so manipulated. But back to this guy here, it's not condemnation. I'm not cursing the guy or insulting him or anything, but the answer to his question is yes. He's gay, I think, because he thinks of himself as a perpetrator with females, and then what do you know? They get the nasty. They get an STD. That's horrible. I wouldn't want to deal with that as an adult, much less a 12-year-old kid, and what my dark imagination could think was climbing around on my pecker. I mean, and then you go to the doctor and they say there's nothing wrong with you, but, second opinion, third opinion, what do we got going here? Maybe they're wrong, and that would just be horrifying. And then on top of that, I would just guess that he wound up going to a militant lesbian feminist therapist that took these anatomically correct dolls and made him sodomize them and shit, and implanted memories and stuff. They do that kind of shit, man. They mess with these little kids. Oh, he's hyperactive syndrome. No, he's not. He's male. They constantly crawl into these kids' brains. And apparently he was with the girl. I mean, how much humiliation regarding the female crotch can a male take before a guy starts looking simple and easy,
Sure. I agree with you. And I know that you don't like it when I disagree with you. But I don't think that this guy is gay.
I don't think that you're contractually allowed to disagree with me. Go ahead, though. What?
Well, okay. You are correct, sir, in your analysis of this young boy. I don't think he's gay.
He's not a young boy. He's a grown man.
Okay,
but
so this grown man, I don't think he's gay. What I think...
Oh, and he was married. He was married and divorced or something, but he was married to a woman, too.
I think that this guy was involved in, child's play, and, it wasn't Foursquare by any stretch of the imagination, but he was involved in some sexual exploration, unfortunately, with a family member, but it happened. It was what happened afterwards that they got caught.
Yeah.
They were chastised by their parents.
Humiliated, probably.
Humiliated, yeah. Right. Punished.
Penises are good. Vaginas are bad. Right?
He was punished.
Do you know the saying, by the way, to know a bad vagina?
I'm almost afraid to
Have you ever read it, in the bathroom?
No, but I'm sure you're going to
Okay, ready? I think it's, what was it? If it smells like fish, it's a dish. If it smells like bologna, leave it alone.
Oh, God.
Isn't that disgusting?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
disgusting.
so anyway, he's made contact with bad juju, and now that would be a bummer, and then repeated therapy sessions to just pound that into his... It's like MK Ultra torture, man.
Well, and let's not forget that his cousin also contracted an STD. So everything that he has, there's a stigma against women in his mind. I mean, certainly she's got a crotch on fire. She's got some kind of STD.
Well, you know what? In the STD thing, he mentioned that probably one of the adults in the home was... That's where the girl got the STD, was from an adult.
He did say from an adult or from another teenager somewhere in the neighborhood.
Or a toilet seat or a doorknob. Right?
But, I mean, how could you have any kind of appreciation for women after you have been caught, punished, sent to therapy to say how bad you were and what you did was wrong, and look what you did to her. She's got this horrible disease now. I mean, I would be turned off women. Well,
I used to be friends with this plastic surgeon guy, and one time we were talking, and I said something because he did a lot of boob jobs. He did my first wife's boob job that we talked about earlier, and then we divorced. Anyway, I asked him one time, he said, you see boobs all the time. Are they a turnoff for you? I mean, is it gross now? And he's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. I have another story about him I'd like to tell later. But anyway, back to this guy here. I feel like telling him that he needs to try chicks.
Yeah. Absolutely. Try it again.
And he's a nice guy. I think that there are women out there that could identify with him, and I don't know. I think he's probably a sweetheart. I just don't see him. I feel like his homosexuality is like a mental tweak. It's not wholesome. It's not his true deal. I think he struggles with it.
I think it's probably the more comfortable way for him to go right now. I mean, if I rode a skateboard as a child and I fell off and I really cut up my knee, that doesn't mean I never get on a skateboard again. I think, it's like a bicycle, try again. I think that as an adult he seems like a knowledgeable person. He seems like an intelligent guy. He's trying to do something with his life. I think as an adult, he ought to give this a second chance.
Yeah, I think so too. And the fact that he's posting videos pondering the topic and causing other YT channels to do shows on it and discussing it tells me that he's putting that energy out into the universe. He's probably seeking. See, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a gender confusion thing. So if there's homosexuals listening to my show, come on, man. I've got a groovy love for you guys. I'm not beating up on you. What I always refer this back to is New World Order agenda, and that's I'm just anti. What am I? I'm an anti-feminist.
Yes, you are.
Only for the sake of our country. And I told you guys, if you have your choice, you have a decent life in the future, or you have the New World Order. And the majority of you that are hearing my voice right now, when the New World Order is legitimate, you guys will already be dead. And if you're Christian, if you don't take the mark of the beast on your hand when it comes time to get chipped, if you do, you're going to go to hell too. So we're talking about a Holocaust. It's horrible. Now, this is fear-based shit. This is ego projection here. It's my fear, and I'm transmitting it to you guys. But the only way we're going to avoid this catastrophe for mankind in a dark age is to become masculine and nationalistic. And that brings up a news story that Samantha wants to talk about.
Yeah, that was a nice segue there, sir.
You like that?
Yeah.
Smooth.
I wanted to talk to you,
I've considered being in radio.
Really? Yeah. You should give it a shot. You've got a wonderful speaking voice. Okay, so a couple of videos ago, you happened to mention something about how as the liberal movement continued to rise, that their hope was that the conservatives would actually come along behind them and move towards...
Yeah, that they would go more moderate, more centric.
Exactly. And actually what you feel is going to happen is it's going to completely push them further to the right.
Correct, which is nationalism.
And along that same line, I actually saw a news story today about Moscow.
Love it.
Yeah. Russian nationalists, some wearing swastikas, marched through Moscow on Sunday to protest against immigration.
What? They're Nazis.
They were
wearing swastikas.
They were swastika-wearing Russian nationals.
Are they carrying vodka?
No. However, basically what it says is they were chanting slogans such as "Russia is for the Russians."
Right. Anti-immigration, anti-multiculturalism.
Right. And they are basically protesting President Putin's government.
So what are you trying to say, Samantha? You're trying to say I'm a Nazi? Because I'm the one always pushing nationalism.
No, Rocket. How do I say this? I'm saying that you were right.
Well, there you go. That's the end of the show. I got to quit on a high note. No, what I want to tell you about the nationalism thing, I believe that there's really two forms of nationalism. You kind of got soft nationalism and hard nationalism. I think that I'm probably a little bit to the left of Nazis. I don't believe in Nazism, and I don't believe in totalitarianism, and I'm not an anti-Semite. But I am against NAFTA. I am against the North American Trade Union. I am against open borders. I don't like it. And open-ended immigration, I'm against multiculturalism. The only way we're going to survive with any of our God-given liberties and freedoms intact is to become Americans again, where we all pull together and become a melting pot. I'm not actually sure that that's a physical amalgamation that's possible. I don't think that it's really possible anymore. But I can hope. And so I guess all I can say is God bless America. What do you say?
God bless America.
Oh, say goodbye, Samantha.
Goodbye, Samantha. You always have to do that.
Okay, it's kind of like Cher and Sonny.
Gentlemen, a pro-lifer heckling him at a rally, and it was just really kind of hitting the fan. The crowd was cheering, "Get this guy out of here, how dare he disagree with President Obama, how dare he rudely voice an opinion." I mean, hey, it's not like we have a Constitution or a First Amendment to free speech or anything like that, which raises the question, what happened to this individual?
To learn more about ShelterBox, please visit shelterboxusa.org/be-involved.
You're listening to the Rocket Radio Show.
With 7650, the penal code as a domestic terrorist.
I'm not a domestic terrorist, man. I'm a pacifist.
Unfortunately, Rocket, we're aware of your activities.
What activities? I wasn't doing anything. I do a radio show.
Yes, we've been aware of that for some time. We've also been privy to your phone calls to your family. We've also been included in your communications via electronic devices like email.
Okay, so I emailed people. I didn't do anything wrong. I just do a political commentary show, man. I didn't mean anything by it.
No, you meant something by it. Constantly talking about the Constitution of the old America.
Hey, man, I like the Constitution. I think the Constitution makes sense. I like America. I think that America was good. We're a good country.
Precisely. I can hear you proclaiming your guilt. What about the other countries in the world? What about the other people in the world? You're here with the lights on and running water and toilet services and food bulging from the shelves. You're some spoiled American. What about the globe? What about the rest of us? What about the bankers over in Europe? The bankers in Singapore? What are they supposed to do? You are trying to erode our control. Have you or have you not said the phrase, to wake people up?
Yeah. I feel like it's a wake asleep kind of thing. I don't know. People are just like drones.
Precisely. You are undermining multiple billions of dollars of paid programming. You owe the state billions of dollars.
I owe the state billions of dollars? What are you talking about? I've only had like 43,000 views. It couldn't be that much.
Yes, but your ideas spread like a virus. You are fighting the system. You are the enemy of the state. Is it not true that you have stored food at your house?
Stored food? I got some food. Yeah, I stored some food.
Yes or no?
I have some stored food at my house. Yes, it's for emergencies. It's for after the crash.
Silence! Yes, we know all about it. You've been hoarding food in your garage. That's a crime. You have a small farm with animals. That's a crime. Upon searching your house, we found the book 1 second after. That's a crime. We understand that you're anti-Muslim as well. That's a hate crime. Well, Mr. Rocket, I think that we've heard enough. Your sentence will be imposed immediately. Guards, take him away.
Bullshit. Do you mind? Can I have a cigarette first, please? One more cigarette. Thank you. You know, you guys, I know you're just following your orders and stuff, but this is totally wrong. This is wrong, you guys. This is not America. Now I can't see anything. I can't see. This is wrong, you guys. God bless America.
What if the federal government decided if its own powers were proper and constitutional? What if the Constitution were no longer the supreme law of the land? What if you needed a license from the government to speak, to assemble, or to protest against the government? What if the government didn't like what you planned to say, and so it didn't give you the license? What if the right to keep and bear arms only applied to the government? What if posse comitatus, the federal law that prohibits our military from occupying our streets, were no longer in effect? What if the government considered the military an adequate dispenser of domestic law enforcement? What if cops looked and acted like troops and you couldn't distinguish the military from the police? What if you were not secure in your person, in your papers, and in your property? What if federal agents could write their own search warrants in defiance of the Constitution? the government could decide when you were and were not entitled to a jury trial? What if the government could take your property whenever it wanted? What if the government could continue prosecuting you until it got the verdict it wanted? What if the government could force you to testify against yourself simply by labeling you a domestic terrorist? What if the government could torture you until you said what the government wanted to hear? What if people running for president actually supported torture? What if the government tortured your children to get to you? What if government judges and government lawyers intimidated juries into convicting the innocent? What if the government could send you to your death and your innocence meant nothing so long as the government's procedures were followed? What if America's prison population, the largest in the world, was a cruel and unusual way for a country to be free? What if half the prison population never harmed anyone but themselves? What if the people had no rights except those the government chose to let them have? What if the states had no rights except to do as the federal government commanded? What if our elected officials didn't really live among us, but instead all had their hearts and homes in Washington, D.C.? What if the government could strip you of your rights because of where your mother was when you were born? What if the income tax was unconstitutional? What if the states were convinced to give up their representation in Congress? What if the government tried to ban you from using a substance in your body that is older than the government itself? What if voting didn't mean anything anymore because both political parties stand for big government? What if the government could write any law, regulate any behavior, and tax any event, the Constitution be damned? What if the government was the reason we don't have a Constitution anymore? What if you could love your country but hate what the government has done to it? What if sometimes, to love your country, you had to alter or abolish the government? What if Jefferson was right? What if that government is best which governs least? What if I'm right? What if the government is wrong? What if it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong? What if it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave? What if freedom's greatest hour of danger is now?